Welcome, guys. Happy July 1st. Is it? I think so. Yeah. July 4th is Saturday. Don't get too crazy with the, obviously, the whole Corona uptick. Gotta definitely be mindful of that. What's up, Cam? What's up, Lisa? Paul, welcome. Jorge. What's up, Aaron? Hope you guys are doing well, guys. I'm looking forward to this one. I've known Javi for like 4 years. First met him when I was U.S. Development Academy coach at Dienza Force. I was coaching the 17s. And he, what's up, Anna? Oscar, how are we doing? And he was playing for the 19s. So we had a year there, then he went to Santa Clara. And since I'm an alum from Santa Clara, I will occasionally come back and play with and against the team. So kind of got to know each other that way, and then started helping out with mobility stuff. And now I continue to train him. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I honestly don't know that much about his background, especially the whole Barcelona thing. So I'm looking forward to it. We will have questions at the end. So think about maybe something that you'd want to ask. Yeah, but I'm looking forward to it. Hope everyone's doing well. What's up, Jordan? How you doing? Brady, welcome. I saw Emma on there as well. Hopefully you guys all training. How many hours a day do you train at maximum? When I played, I wouldn't do more than like double days. Yeah. It's not so much about the hours you put in. It's more about the quality of hours. So like really good hour and a half, hour and 15 is better than like 4 hours of not that intense. All right, let's do this. I think it depends all about if you train every day with Sundays. Again, it depends on how much you're doing each day. What's up?
What's up, Matt?
How you doing? You doing well?
Say that again.
You doing well? Got the camera sorted?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. I don't know if you heard. I'm going to turn off the commenting so you can just focus on the conversation at hand. And I'll turn it on later so you guys can ask questions. Welcome. Thanks for doing this. I'm looking forward to this. I was just telling everyone that I've known you for about 4 years now, but I don't really know too much about your background. So I think it'll be super interesting and valuable. For one, interesting, obviously, everyone's always curious about La Masia. So you can kind of talk a little about that. But then also like Spain versus U.S., both the system and college. So I think it'll be really interesting. So first off, let's take it back. How we know each other. As I was saying, I used to coach for the Dienza Force Development Academy. Javi came over. Was it your senior year of high school, or did you finish high school?
No, I finished high school the year before, so it was like a gap year in between to like start learning English. So yeah, it was like my transition from Spain to Santa Clara.
Yeah, I remember when you first came, your English was,
it was terrible.
About as good as my Spanish would be going to Spain.
It was pretty bad. I couldn't say a single word at the beginning. Like, I could not keep a conversation at all.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. But anyway, we met that year, was it like 4 years ago, and then trained you and obviously helped out with agility. So let's go. Let's go back to the start. So let's start with, what was it like? Where did you grow up in Spain?
Well, in Spain, I grew up in a city that belongs to Barcelona. It's called.
What do you mean belongs to Barcelona?
Oh, it's like not the city, but it's like part. It's not like the city. It's more like the outside of the city. So like they follow some rules of Barcelona, but technically it's like its own like town, to say somehow. So okay. Yeah, and it's Sant Cugat del Vallès. It's like where I grew up. So I started to play for the team in Sant Cugat when I was 5. Like my best friends that I remember, we always like playing soccer, like on the street, like when we hang out. And and he came to my parents and he was like, well, I know like this team, they're starting like to get like kids to start playing on the new team. Like we should give them like a shot, like just to see how it goes. And my parents said, yeah. And I mean, for me, it was like, I was super happy to start playing soccer on the team. And so, yeah, I started in Sant Cugat.
How many trains a week was that? Was it like 2 trains a week and games on weekend? Was it pretty informal?
I honestly, I don't even remember my first year. I remember my first year, my coach was one of my friend's older brother. He was 16. And I remember like training. We didn't even have like uniforms. Like I was training. I remember like the first training I was with like a Ronaldinho jersey because like we just went with whatever.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I don't remember exactly how many times a week, but we started to compete already. And since like the first moment, like I started to like play pretty good for the team. And like my next years, I was always like getting like a higher and higher level. And we actually had like, I was lucky to like be around like really good players on those teams that I play for in San Cugat. Like every time that I went like higher and higher, and we had really good years in there. So eventually, after my third year in San Cugat, I remember that Barcelona and Espanyol, like Espanyol is like, well, for the guys that know about La Liga, is like the derby is Barca and Espanyol. And for like youth academies, like they're like the top like youth academies of Catalonia.
So how old are you at this point? You're 8, 9?
Yeah, probably 8, 9. And I was that was the thing. I was so young, and for me, I was just playing soccer to have fun. And my parents never put pressure on me. They were like, "Look, you have this really good opportunity, but I mean, we're not gonna put pressure on you. Like you decide whatever you want to do." And for me, is what I said. I was playing with my friends. I was having fun, and I took the decision of like not going. So I stayed on the club for like 2 more years. And after my last season in San Cugat, you hear me? Sorry.
Yeah.
Batteries kind of low. My last season in San Cugat, we played against Barça and Espanyol in the league. And we had like a crazy year. Like my San Cugat, in playing in this division, like with the top teams like Barça and Espanyol, like I think that the like historic like record was like only 5th on the league. That was like the top that club ever done. And that year we ended up 3rd on the division, and we were the first team of San Cugat of beating Barça at their field. So it was like kind of like a really good year. And after that, Barça and Espanyol came again asking for me, and I was like, okay, like 2 times, like I think that like I really need to take a decision right now, like might not come like a 3rd time. And I remember I went to train with Espanyol like first. So I went to train with them, and well, I mean, it was a new experience, like training with like more of like kind of a professional team. I mean, it's still like the youth academy, but it was not as professional. And after the training, I remember they already like offered me to like sign to like join the team. And I was kind of like happy, but like, I mean, I was not a Espanyol fan. Like it was cool to like have a team like Espanyol like wanted you. And I like, for sure, yeah, like I was like super happy about it. But after I had a meeting with Albert Puig, you know him.
I know.
And he came to one of my games in San Cugat, and I think that he talked to my dad, and he was like, look, what if we have a meeting and we just like talk about it? Because like the first thing that I said was like, I don't really want to like leave my club. So I met with him in San Cugat. He came, and I met with my dad, him and I, and well, he kind of like convinced me to like just try it, like go one training, play one like friendly game. So I went, and just like the feeling of like being there, like it's like all the like the facilities are just so amazing. And after the game, like the feeling was still the same of like I really just don't know, because I was so attached to my team. I was having so much fun that, but at the end I was like, look, I mean, I was still young. I was not like taking like really big decisions yet, because at the end, as I said, I was just playing to have fun. But after like discussing it with my parents and seeing what was like the best for me, I decided to. That's the thing. I had the 2 offers in that moment. I had either say yes to Espanyol or say yes to Barca, and I ended up deciding for Barca. So that was how I ended up like signing when I was 10 years old for Barca, and after I stayed 8 years in there.
Got it. So real quick, for those that don't know, Albert Puig, Who was he in Barcelona? Just so those.
He was the academy director, but when he signed me, he came to talk to me. He was the coach of the team that I would have played for. So he came as a coach.
Got
So
it.
he wanted me for his team as a coach. And I remember that year, right when I started to train, like, I don't remember exactly what happened, but like some coach left or something like that. And he moved from the team that I was going to play for to like 2 years older than me. So he was not my coach anymore. So I played 2 years with like the coaches that I had, and my third year he was supposed to be my coach. And again, before like being my coach, the Barca changed everything again, and they asked him to be the academy director. So I never had him as a coach, and the first 3 years I know him just because of that, because he wanted to sign me, and that's it. And eventually, like he became the academy director of FC Barcelona, and yeah, so that's how I know him.
Got it. And for those that don't know, he was academy director of Dienza Force after academy director of Barcelona. And I was a coach there for 2 years. Javi played for him for a year when he was academy director of Force. And then also, actually, there's one more Bay Area person, I think, that with your club team, I thought I remember.
Yeah. So Andres Deza, like he was my coach he was either my third or fourth year. And he was my coach, and my dad always like I remember he left to like United States. That was like one of the things. After the year that he coached me, he left with his family, and he moved to the United States. And from then, I didn't know anything about him. But I know that my parents kept in touch with him. Like my dad used to email like him like every Christmas or like every once in a while to like just ask how everything was going. And in my last year in Barcelona, like things were not going right, to say it's like in like a good way. They were not going the way that I wanted, and I was not getting all the minutes that I would have liked to play. And I was already about to finish high school, and I think it was like a key year, you know, like it was like either keep going with soccer or start focusing more on like just the academics. And my dad like knew about like all these scholarships in America, and like I kind of know a little bit, but like I never like really understood how the system working here. And so he emailed him, and he was like, look, like I've been reading about like these opportunities for athletes to get scholarships and study in like good universities there, and also play soccer. So is there like any way that you could like, I don't know, give us a chance with some like university or something? He's like, well, yeah, I know some coaches. I know like he knew people, and he was like, but look, what if you come like during spring break, you stay 1 week and we visit like different universities, and after you see like how it goes. And I mean, it was kind of hard at the beginning. I was like changing everything right now, leaving my family to like go to the other side of the world to like study or like having a new experience as a soccer player, or as like my academics. It was kind of big for me in that moment, but after like a lot of discussions with my parents as well, like I talked to my parents a lot about like all like the good things that are like the better options for me in the future. And we got to the point that it's like I think it's the best opportunity for the fact that like I could be like capable of like keep playing soccer at like a high level, and get like good like good academics in like a good school. So he like arranged like a week. He talked to my assistant coach right now, Eric Yamamoto, because they work together at the Enza Force. And that Santa Clara was my first visit, and I came here. Yamo showed me the whole school, and yeah, after I played a game, and I think that I don't know exactly how it got, but I knew that also Berkeley, like he also knew the coach of Berkeley, and he was also there like looking out for me, because that was like my second visit. So I visited Berkeley, and that was like the school that I wanted to go. Berkeley because it's like the most. Not, I don't know if it's the most popular one, but like
Well known.
internationally, it has a
Yeah.
stronger name.
Yep.
Like Santa Clara is a good school, but internationally is not as like doesn't have a strong name. And Berkeley, like there's many people that live from Berkeley, and it's one of the top schools. And that was the school that I was thinking to try to get in, and the one that my parents thought it was better for me. So I visited Santa Clara because, again, like Andres told me that, yeah, it's a small school, but like the campus is beautiful, academics are really good, and also like soccer-wise, like the facilities are amazing. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm already here. Like, I'm better, like just checking out other schools. So yeah, Santa Clara was the first one, Berkeley was the second one, and I was supposed to check Stanford. But when we were here, he was like, yeah, I don't think that Stanford's like really hard to get in. So I don't think that it's worth it to like try. So though I visited these two schools, and after I played a game with Force as a tryout, I got an offer from Santa Clara. Not like a final offer, just like really good interest for me with a really good opportunity, like a really good scholarship. But again, that was way too much for me. It's changing everything to like go to the other side of the world, like not knowing, like my English was just like really, really bad. I remember like Andres told me that one of the things that I needed to change if I really wanted to like come here is you need to like work on your English. Otherwise, like there's no way that I can like come here. So I got back to Barcelona after this week, and I keep playing. I keep training with Barca. I was having like a really like rough time in Barcelona. Like we can talk about this maybe later, but like I was like not getting minutes at all. I was already like with the mindset of like I don't know what to do, and I knew that like now I had to decide either stay here and know that probably next year they're not gonna re-sign you for Barca, and you're gonna have to find some other options around like the area that are probably, well, I don't know if there might be like good or bad ones, or decide to like move to give a chance to like go to the United States and studying there, and after probably like I think I don't know how many weeks, probably like 2, 3, 4 weeks, I don't remember. After getting a lot of information about Santa Clara, because again, like my uncle, he's also like a really like important professor in one of the schools in Barcelona, and my dad asked him like to get information about the school, because for us like the most important part in that moment was the school. Yeah. Like soccer was important, but like the principle that I was moving to the United States is to get a better like education, and he got really good feedback about the school, and after like I saw how much Yamo was like having interest on like me getting there. Like Berkeley just told me that we would like you to join, but like we don't have enough money. We will need to see you playing more. I had to like send them videos that I didn't have and all, and it was like a longer. And I was not feeling like they had like a really like big interest in me. On the other side, Santa Clara did have a bigger interest in me, and that kind of made me decide to finally. I remember it was my 18th birthday, the same day that I was turning 18. I decided to leave the club in the middle of the season. I talked to the coach. I talked to the club. I was like, look, I have a good opportunity to like keep moving forward with my career as a soccer player and as a student. And I think that it's better for me to leave right now, and just because the problem right there was that I needed to learn English so fast, but like soccer and school were not letting me. Like I had like no time to like get a tutor or something to learn English. So I was like if I really want to go, I need to like drop soccer, play for Barcelona in that moment, and start learning English. So on my 18th birthday, was my last day at the club, and from then I got a tutor every day after school, 3 hours of English.
Wow.
During like I think it was 2 months, and also it was my last year of high school. And in Spain we have like a similar thing like the SAT, but I would say harder to the fact that it's 7 different tests, one of like each subject that you took in the last 2 years, and it's about everything that you learned in the last 2 years. So I had to learn. In that moment, I was learning English and at the same time having to study for that test, which is like 3 days. I had like a whole month to study for those 3 days, and it was like 7 different tests. So I had to study a lot, and my schedule basically during that month, because we finished school 1 month early, so we were capable of studying for those tests. My schedule was basically waking up, going to the library, coming back home, lunch at home, 3 hours of English. After English, going back to the library, studying until night, and that was during like probably 2 months.
When you transferred to Santa Clara, was it important in order to get into Santa Clara, or was it only if you stayed in Spain?
The test that I had to take in Spain, you mean, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was like just like as a backup plan, just in case. Like, I mean, that's the test that you need to take if you want to like go to like any college here in Spain. So if the thing in the United States didn't work, that should be my backup plan. And I could have always like taken it like the year after if the thing here in America didn't work. But, you know, like having to study 2 full years, like when you've been like 1 year without being in school, that would have been like even worse.
So you had to do it basically. And then, so when did you end up confirming that you're going to come to Santa Clara, and when did you move?
Well, to Santa Clara, I didn't get confirmed until Christmas of my first year in the United States.
Oh, so you came to the United States and you didn't know if you were going to come to play, go to university?
Because I had to pass the SAT. I had to take the SAT and I had to take the TOEFL, which is like a test for international. It's like an English test for international people.
Okay, but was it contingent on doing well in those, or was it still like based on your soccer ability as well? Like, did they say, hey, if you get good enough grades on these tests, you can
that's
get
the
in?
thing. Yeah, that they told me, look, you don't have to get like as high as the school asked for, but you have to get a minimum for us to like help you out and get to school. So that's basically like what it was. I took the SAT 3 times. 3 times. The first time I took it right when I got back from United States, and I decided that I wanted to so when I came back from that spring break that I came here to visit the schools, they told me to take both tests to see what my level was, and from there, like, see how much I'm improving. And I remember, like, did you have a tutor? I
mean, how do you get by the English part? Is it in Spanish, or do you have someone that tells you?
That's the thing. I had a tutor every day. I got a tutor for like 3
No,
hours.
I mean, like, when you're taking the test, is it in English, the SAT for you?
Yeah, everything, yeah.
Can you have somebody, like, read the questions to you?
No, I'm taking the test the same way that any other high school.
And you have no clue about the language. That must be brutal to start. I mean, not much of a clue.
I can explain you, like, my first time I took the TOEFL, which the TOEFL is the international test that you have to take, which is all English. Like, it's reading, it's writing, it's listening, it's speaking. And everything, I mean, I was bad at everything, but my speaking part was probably the worst. So that test, you take it with your headphones, a mic, and you're taking it on a computer in a room that there's like, I would say like 15 other people taking it. And I remember when I got to the speaking part, since I had no idea, I started to like make weird noises just to like show like the mic was not working well. So yeah, I mean, I couldn't do anything. Like, I really didn't know, like, because you had to, like, I don't know. It's a really hard test, and I mean, not having my English was just fucking.
But after 6 months, you were good. I mean, or whatever. Eventually, you passed, and yeah.
I mean, so I took it again once. I think it was 3 months after I took it again. And my grades, well, my test scores barely went up. Like, they went up, but like still I didn't like have the minimum to go to Santa Clara. But I did have the minimum to move here and get the visa from another school, from another language school. And that was like when I got that score and allowed me to like get the visa from this school, which is like right next to Santa Clara campus. It's called California College of Communications. It's in El Camino. And they gave me the visa. And that was when everything started to like work out. I got like a family to stay here, and I started to play for the Enza Force, and everything started to work well. But still, I had to study for the SAT because still didn't have the grade to move
Yeah.
to Santa Clara. So the
So you
plan
weren't
was
taking any, you were just studying for the SAT, working on your English. You weren't actually in class at this point.
I was so from once I got to United States from August until December, I was in this language school, which is the one I just said. But it was literally like just Tuesday, Thursdays I was taking class, so I had like free time, but free time without social life, which is the worst thing that you can have.
Yeah,
I
because
was
you didn't know anyone here.
learning English on my own, because at the end, like, yeah, it's 2 days, but I couldn't do much. And the plan was after Christmas to transfer to the Enza College and start taking college classes there. And so yeah, we had the showcase in Florida with Force, and I remember the last day to take the SAT was when we were in Florida. So I had to take the SAT in Florida while we were in the showcase. And the only day off that we had, I was taking.
Perfect.
Like the whole team went to the beach, and I had to go to this high school that I didn't know to take an SAT like all myself.
That sounds like something Tiff arranged, probably. She's like
I don't know,
master, master scheduler.
They wanted to push it as late as possible for me to have time to like learn like more, which it makes sense. But you know, like the situation was not like the most comfortable one. But you know, like I took it, and I still left being like, I don't know if I did good, if I did bad. I did like the best I could, and I was back home, and I got the grades for the score of the SAT, and they were still like, I mean, they were higher than last time, but I didn't think that they were like high enough. And then I told Yamun, he was like, "Oh yeah, that's perfect." I was like, "Wait, what?" So it was like I did not expect him to say that was perfect. I thought I have to take it again. He was like, "No, like that's the grade that we were like looking for." I was like, "Oh, then that's perfect." So I transferred to the Enza, and from January to June, I was taking 2 quarters at the Enza, and I was taking classes there, and yeah, and after summer I joined Santa Clara.
Okay, a couple questions. One, you did tutor. You had a class where you were taking English, and then obviously just being social on the soccer team. Well, of those three, like, what helped you learn English the fastest? Somebody like me looking to learn the language.
I didn't have a tutor here.
Oh, and I know, but you had a tutor back in Spain. So, like, where would you say like you felt like you made the most improvement?
Definitely, definitely it's a combination of everything. But what I think that it was the most is just like having to like force myself to speak English, because like the family I was living with, they were they were full American.
Yeah, so
well, you know, they're the Hoppers. Like they were full American. And I remember the first time I got there, like they talk so fast. I was like, I don't understand anything. So it was like, it's just like a way. I mean, I think that human beings are just made like this. We just have to adapt as quick as you can. And I remember my first year, I told myself, do not make any friends that speak Spanish. Because if I start joining people who speak Spanish, I'm not learning. And I forced myself to have American friends, or even like if they spoke Spanish, I forced myself to just speak English with them.
Yeah.
And just like they like, still like, after the first year, my English was still, I mean, it got better. Still not good. I was not comfortable with my English probably until the end of my second year. So even at Santa Clara, my first quarter, I was like,
struggle. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. So we talked a ton about the backstory. Let's talk about the soccer now. Let's start like where you were right now. So actually, let's dial it back. We'll dial it back. So you're 10 years old. You're going to Barcelona. You're training with Barcelona. Like you said, the facilities were awesome. What were the trainings like as a youth player? What was the competition like? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's different. Do you want me to compare it, or do you just want me to explain how it was, my experience?
Maybe explain like what the trainings were like when you were younger, or what the emphasis was, maybe.
Training is in there. I mean, you know, Barcelona has a real like specific philosophy of playing. They always want to have possession, and I think that's one of the things to admire about this club is that how they work with the whole academy doing the same model as the first team works. Like there's many clubs that their academies are good, but like that each team it's good because they recruit good players, but they don't really have a philosophy. But the good thing about Barca is that they all follow the same philosophy, and there's many times that you can be winning a game 4-5-0 and being like yell at the end of the game if you haven't played like the way that we were supposed to play. So it's one of the things that like a lot of people says, and for my own experience, I can like agree with that, is Barcelona is not only a club, it's not only a soccer team, it's a school. It's a school of soccer. Like you learn so many things from there, so many things that from before, like you never thought about it, like ways to play, ways to like move, like everything, all the philosophy, like every day is probably like a class. You know what I'm telling you? Like the coaches tell you something that makes so much sense that it didn't make sense when I was playing in San Cugat. In San Cugat, I was playing for fun. We had a really good team. We had our like each coach had its own like system and philosophy to play. But once you get there, you feel that every time that you're going up and up, like higher and higher in your level, you keep like doing the same things just at the higher level. But at the end, like the base is the same since the first day that I got there until the last day I left. So it's a lot. I mean, you can imagine it's a lot of possession. I think that one of the things that Barcelona does, if I'm not wrong, is that until the years before you are 16, there's no fitness. Literally no fitness. Everything is with the ball. Every single thing with the ball. They just want the kids to like develop as good soccer players and develop like their technical skills. And fitness they live for once you like start, once you're 16, you start doing fitness, and once you're like 18, you start doing more fitness. And after, I guess, I didn't get to the second team or like the first team, that the fitness, it's definitely like super important. But
Yeah.
But the fitness part, and now I can compare with here. You come to America and it's completely the opposite. The fitness part is such an important factor, which is just two ways of like seeing, like analyzing soccer. Like I think that definitely like if you're fit, you're gonna be better at like almost everything. But like what Barca wants you to have is like, even if you play against a team that has huge players, you have to like show them how to play soccer on the ground, like how to play quick on the ground, how to like, even if like you see all the teams and usually like the average like height is not big. I mean, yeah, there's always one, two players that are like taller, but they're always young players, technical players, because that's what they're looking for, and that's what do you develop every like training there. So yeah.
Got it. So everything with the ball, no fitness until you're 17 or 16. Did they teach you guys like specific technique at a young age even? Like did they like, or was it more just like general ideas? Like obviously Albert came here and instilled, I think, very similar stuff. We can talk about that a little bit, but similar philosophy as far as like with the ball, like I would say, yeah, school of soccer mentality. But how about like any specific technique was covered, or was it more like understanding the game, situations in games, reading the game, that's managing the game, that type of stuff?
That's the most important part. Like they show you more how to read the game, how to like analyze every situation that can happen on the field, how to like adapt to that situation. I mean, they're not gonna. We didn't have like skill training of like, now you receive, you do like this movement and you beat. I think that's more a thing that you like can like develop like as a like individual soccer player, but at the end like you're training a whole team, so like they cannot focus on each player like what's like the thing that one needs. So it's more as a group, like how can they like show you how to like analyze a game, how to read a game, how like in each situation you're gonna have to like use like different like I don't know how to explain. Like for example, if they do teach you like your body position. Like for example, like if the ball is coming from here, don't be like facing only like your goal or facing only one way. Like open up your body, like things like this. Always taking a touch, with the inside of your foot, like receiving with the proper foot. Things like I remember one of my coaches when we used to do rondas before training. We had like forbidden to like do like how would you say it? Like like pass the ball like behind your legs. Like you had to always be like oriented, like to play either right or left, and just things like that. Things
Good
that,
habits.
yeah, exactly. Like that's what I said. Things that like at the end you don't realize while you're there because just it's your day to day. It's your like things that you work every day. But after you leave from there and you see like how it's something that I already like have and a lot of details that I already have that I already learned without even thinking about it. And I come here and I see different players or different like coaches or whatever that probably don't teach that. And at the end you see like players with 18, 19 that basic details are
Efficient.
like, yeah.
For
And
sure.
that changes everything. Like it changes the game. It changes like every play. Like, so, I mean, I'm not going to say that I do it perfect. I make a lot of mistakes during the games. I make like a lot of times I don't take the right touch. But I know that I make the mistake. I know how I should have done it. And like, I get pissed at myself. If like, why did I do that when like I know how to do it? But like, again, things that make sense for me, I don't know if it makes sense for like everyone else. Just for the fact that I've been lucky to be 8 years in one of the best soccer schools.
Makes sense. So tons of focus on the details, but it's details not through technical training. It's more through the actual practice itself.
Yeah.
Which is, did you guys ever do like, like for you guys, I'll do technical training, basically the same details we're talking about, like position specific, game specific scenarios. Did you guys ever do individual training like that, or was it all within a team concept?
Only my last year, we started to incorporate, I think it was every Wednesday, like we had 30 minutes of like, but it's different. It's like not as like individually. It was, for example, we were like 2 weeks working on like headers, like how the attackers were working like the first 30 minutes of like heading to goal, and the defenders more of like how to like clear the ball. Another time it was like more for, I remember one, for example, throw-ins, thing that is like sounds like something's normal, but we like work on it. Like, what are the movements that like you need to do before? So 30 minutes before training, we were working on that. So just things like that. Like we got like a main topic, because that's the thing that happens in Barcelona at the end. Like they're so focused on like following the philosophy that a lot of times like these details that I like us working in mobility or like any other places, it's not that they forget about it, but they don't have time to work on it. So this coach in my last year, he kind of like saw that, and he's like, well, what if we incorporate like 30 minutes earlier on Wednesdays, just doing something more specific, like something like that we don't train as often. So like headers, throw-ins, dribble.
That's how that came.
Crossing, yeah.
Cool. So how did it transition from, what was the main difference for you when you came from Barcelona and you started playing for Force Academy? For those that don't know, the Force Academy team, Javi, you were on. I'll kind of like fill a little bit, because this is your first year American soccer. It was a pretty talented team. They had some pretty good players, but definitely underperformers. And honestly, I've coached for like a long time, and it was one of the hardest teams to coach. I wasn't the head coach, I assisted, but it was one of the hardest teams I've had. It was just a lot of people that thought they were already there. I don't know if you'd agree with that or not, but like basically a lot of people that they feel like they didn't need anything else to learn, and they weren't really that committed to working hard. That's a hard year to coach for those who don't know, because all these guys are pretty much committed to play college soccer already. And so normally most kids, they work their entire youth career to play college soccer. And so they're committed to play college soccer, and they're like, all right, cool. Now I'm just going to like hang out with my friends or whatever, which is obviously not the mentality you want to have if you want to be a successful soccer player. But I felt like too many of the players on the team had that mentality. I don't know. You tell me. What you said is pretty accurate, pretty talented, but just like not the most hardworking, pretty,
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that the results show we won, I think, 3 games that season. And individually, I just think back in like that year, like individually we had players that like they were like really good. Like I remember like, I don't know, I play with some of them right now on my team, like, but we had a pretty like good team, but yeah, there was too many different personalities on that team.
Well put. You could be a politician.
Yeah, and and it was not easy I don't think that in any moment we had a strong group as a team. I think it was many different like individual players playing together, and that play. I mean, I was really close with some of them, but with the others, like I knew just them from training to say, like, and that was weird for me because I come from a team that you can be close. I mean, you can have friends, you can not have friends, but at the end, when you're on a team, like you're competing together.
Yeah.
And in there, the feeling was like, yeah, what you said. A lot of people didn't really care. Like, I mean, now I can kind of say it, but like people like going out days before coming back, like throwing up literally in halftime, like things like this, you know, like things that I was like, I'm not used to this. And in that moment, I was just trying to think, look, I mean, I cannot like compare with like Barca because it's not the same.
Not even close.
But like individually, I remember like I used to get like super frustrated because, I mean, I came from playing like on a team that you're like used to win and like play good, and I come here and things don't go the way that I'm used to, and I get super frustrated. And I remember I analyzed a lot of games with my dad, and he was like, but like you need to like take responsibility on the team because like you guys have like good players, like I think that you guys can play and you guys play sometimes, and I think that was the most important part. And we said at the beginning, we had really good players, we didn't have a strong team, and that made the like the biggest difference. Like that was.
How about I'd agree. Well, how about the trainings themselves? How was it coming over here? Was it just because of what we just said? That like the structure of the training, was it similar? Was it completely different?
With comparing Barca with Force?
Yeah.
Well, I was.
Well, to be fair, also for those who don't know, Albert was here at this point.
Exactly.
So he's is probably pretty similar. So
yes.
Yeah, pretty similar.
I got pretty lucky that Albert was here, and like the type of trainings were pretty similar.
Okay.
So, and that's why, I mean, Albert, the only thing is that Albert didn't really like focus on our team because at the end, like, as you said, is the last team of the academy. Like, if you're working on a new project, you need 2 to 3 years to like develop like a good team. And he never, like, I remember talking to him, he's like, what do you want me to do? Like, in 1 year, I'm not going to change this kid.
Yeah.
But, like, he was working a lot with, like, the U16s and
U14s even.
U14s. And,
U14s.
and those teams got, like, really good.
U13s, yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, on trainings, yeah, the type of training was similar. So, definitely the intensity was not the same. The quality was not the same. But, like, the type of drills we did, like, we used a lot of the drills that I used to do back in Barcelona. Got
it. Now, transition to college. Comparing college, I mean, obviously, college is a completely different game because it's, for those who don't know, it's 3 months, right? And you have 2 weeks of preseason, really, and you have 20 games in 3 months. Versus Barca, you probably have 20 games over 6 months or something like that. So it's just a ton of games in a short amount of time. And then there's also college rules, which allows unlimited subbing, basically. Versus, I assume for you guys in Barca, was it 5 subs a game?
It was 3.
3?
No. 3 my last year. Before, I think it was 5. Yes.
So yeah, for youth teams, it's 5, and then once you get to a certain age, it's 3. In college, you can sub all the time. So just like way more athletic game, way more fitness oriented. I'll let you talk. You tell me, like, what's the biggest differences you see?
No, I mean, you're saying like the main things, like fitness becomes probably one of the most important things. You can just see the stats and see what are the teams that have been winning the NCAA tournament last year. Stanford won 3 or 4 in a row, and they don't play the best soccer I've ever seen in my life, but they're like tough and they go hard and they work hard and they know what they do and they're successful with that. And yeah, because of the rules that the game implies in college, it changes everything because it's unlimited subs. You can get out and get in whenever you want. You can rest 10 minutes and come back in. And the time at 45 minutes, it stops the clock for the halftime. At 90, it stops the clock. The clock ends the game. If you tie, you go overtime, which is kind of weird for me because overtime, I've never honestly, I played 2 times before, coming to the United States overtimes. And now it's every game that you tie, you go overtime.
Yeah.
And if you tie the overtime, it's just a tie. There's not even PKs. So there's weekends that you play Friday, Sunday, or Thursday, Saturday. and you play the first game, you tie, you go overtime, and 2 days after you have to play again.
And you never did that in Spain. It'd be like at least 3-4 days, would you say, between games?
I had usually only one game each weekend.
Yeah.
So you have the whole week to prepare for a game.
And then,
and after you prepare for the next one. Here is like you have 1 week to prepare basically 2 games, knowing that the first one, if the first one is harder than the second one, like you're gonna have to like deal with the second one, just for the fact that your players are gonna be like exhausted.
This is why fitness is so important in college.
I think that fitness is crucial in college, and I saw. Just the first year I got here, like all the fitness tests that we do that I never did in my life. And now I see it and I'm like, now I kind of got used to it. But like for me, the first time was like,
yeah, it's a different game.
There's no way. Yeah.
I mean, you've played now 3 years at Santa Clara.
Yeah.
Would you say there's a wide spectrum of play? So in general, it's an athletic game, but there's also teams that play. Would you agree with that? Or would you say it's pretty similar across the board?
At college level?
Yeah.
There's teams that try to play. I know that Wake Forest is a good example. They try to play. I know Wake Forest just because I have like one friend playing there that he's actually coming to Santa Clara this year. So I know Wake Forest from that. And I think that Wake Forest is one of the schools that everyone knows that they actually try to play good soccer. But in general, I think that they're all like pretty like similar type of teams. Like the difference between teams is not as big. Like everyone is pretty like linear, like on levels, but you can see like again Stanford winning the last years, even making Final Fours in our conference WCC. St. Mary's last 2 years killed the conference, and literally we played against them, one of the ugliest soccer you can see. Like they play for nothing, but they find the opportunities to win games, and they work hard and they go together to everything, and that's what makes the difference. And they won literally like WCC 2 years in a row, playing a horrible soccer, but they had like a strike of 20-something games. So that's
streak of 20 games in a row winning or something, or no loss streak or something. What would you say for players that want to play college soccer? What should they be like? If you were like a sophomore in high school, what would you tell yourself?
To get ready, get ready to work hard. Because I mean,
ready to compete, work hard, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't really played academy here. I played 1 year with Force, so I don't really know exactly how soccer works here in the United States. But for me, it was a big shock. Like it was a big change, and it requires a lot of things that you might not think that are like necessary, like when you play at the academy level, and after they become crucial. And fitness is like the perfect example. Thing that like in academy you can just deal with like play good and being a little fit. Like in college, if you're not fit, you're gonna struggle.
How did academy? So obviously, college soccer is completely different than it was like in Spain. How about the academy? Obviously, the team you were on wasn't very good, but some of the teams that you guys played against, some of the better teams, maybe some teams you watched even. Like, how would you say their style, like compared to what you saw in Spain? Was it similar, or do you remember?
In academy level, you say?
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't remember much about academy. Like the thing, like academy also was injured for like 3-4 months, so I missed so many games too. So right now, thinking about any team that play, I can't read. Maybe like Vancouver, like World Cups, maybe. But also they were like when we played against them, they were like huge players. So like the physical part also like
very important.
Yeah.
Okay, you were talking about it before, but how did you end up? So you were saying how you were playing for Barca, and you kind of see that you weren't gonna. What was that about? Like when you were approaching 18, and you made the decision to come to the United States. Like, what was that? What describe what the process is? So when you're in Barcelona, you're playing for a U12 team, U13, U14, U15. When does it eventually go from youth soccer to professional? Would you say? I think that's kind of like what you're kind of getting at.
In Barcelona?
What age? Or is there, because like here you have all the way up to 19, and then you go play college. And then now with MLS academies, some MLS academies will sign players younger, but in Spain, obviously there's no call. People don't go to college. I mean, Barcelona, La Masia is not there for college. It's there to develop players for Barcelona.
I would say 16. When you're 16, you get in the what is called their juvenile, which is the 2 years that you have before going to the second team, and you have 3 years. So from when you're like 15, 16 until you're like 18, 19, you have 3 years to play in two teams, which is either juvenile A or juvenile B. The first year you usually.
And so the ages of kids on the team, there's 3 age groups, or is one
That's
team?
the thing. That's the first time that like there's 2 teams with 3 different ages. So usually you always play with your age. There's like just exceptional like players that just they move them like 1 year older. But in that year, and since it's 3 ages for 2 teams, you start to like play with different ages. And for example, like first year, so you can do either 1 year in B and 2 years in A, or 2 years in B and 1 year in A. So I was 2 years in B and I was supposed to move to A, but before moving to A, I decided to leave because I was like, I'm already not playing much, and I know that even if I keep playing, my opportunities are gonna be really low. And honestly, personally, I was not feeling like comfortable anymore in there. I was like completely like without any sort of motivation to keep playing there. You know, like at the end, soccer in there, it becomes almost as a job. Like at the end, like you're competing every day. You have to give your everything, and when you're like months and months, like my situation, as I said, like I was like probably like I ended up my 3 last months I played 1 game in 3 months, and I was in the roster just that game. So, you know, like you train every single day. You spend so many hours there, like it becomes a job, and I stopped enjoying it. And you can call me like selfish because like at the end I've been playing the best team of the world, and like I know that like millions of like players will like pay to like be in the position that I was. But I just like in that moment I lost all sort of like motivation, and I didn't even believe on like me as a player. Like I completely lost my confidence, and that's why like at the end of my second year, when I got the opportunity to come here to United States, I was like, I think it has to be the moment right now.
Okay, that makes sense. Do they play in 2 different leagues?
Yeah.
Okay, so they play in 2 different leagues, and then what happens after that? After that, is there Barcelona B?
Yeah. So after that is like the step of real professional world.
Yeah. Is Barcelona B the next team up?
Yeah.
Okay, so those that don't know, so you have these 2 teams from 16 to 19, and you can be on either the B team or the A team. And obviously most of the 16s, I assume, are probably on the B team, and then there's more.
Usually the first year you go straight to the B. That's unless you are like
special
really good players or special. Yeah. Usually stay.
And then you go to B team. B team plays in the 2nd division in Spain.
No, it's not. It's not a 2nd division because it was different. Just a different league. Like for you to understand, like since because the rule is that.
Wait, Barca B.
Wait, no.
I'm talking about Barca B.
Oh yeah. But
so,
that's
yeah,
the thing, like the rule it says that Barca or like any team can have 2 teams on the same division. So Barca B, when I was in there, they were in the 2nd division. Now they're in the 3rd division because they
got relegated.
They got relegated, like I think that the year after, if I'm not wrong.
So those that don't know, like Barca, like literally you see the A team all the time, Champions League, but they have a 2nd team that's all pros as well that plays in the 2 leagues below now in Spain. It was in 1 league below. I remember like a couple of years ago when we went to Spain.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's how the system works. You have 16 to 19. There's 2 teams. What's it called again?
Juvenile. It's JUVENIL.
All right, so you have Juvenile B and then A, and then you have Barca B, and then Barca that you see on TV with Masia and everybody. Okay, now let's get into it. We only have a couple minutes left. So real quick, some of the best players you played with and against.
I mean, I play with so many like good players. For people to know with players that I played right now that they're like names that are coming out. The player that it was like my captain during like all the years is Carlos Aleñá. Like he's like now in a loan in like Betis. I play with Ricky Puig, which right now like everyone is talking about him because he's starting to play with the first team. Carlos Perez also, he was playing for Barca. He played really good games on the first team, and he got signed by Roma this year. I play with, I don't know, I play when I used to play against Madrid. The defender that was defending my position, it's Hakimi. He's like the right back now for Borussia Dortmund. I just got signed for Inter Milan. After I have, for example, Dani Olmo. He also he was a really close friend of mine. The year before I left, he got a really good offer. He went to Dinamo Zagreb in Croatia. He played like really good in there, and he just got signed for Leipzig, and he's playing with like Timo Werner and like all these players. And I know, like I've been lucky to like play with so many like good players, and many players that probably people don't know, but I know that they can still like get to a professional level. Like at the end, I'm still young, so they're still young. They're starting also their professional career. So you'll know these type of names probably in like 2-3 years. You're gonna remember the names that I said. You're gonna be
Yep, and Javi Ruiz as well. Remember. Let's go real quick.
Hopefully.
I'm gonna turn on the comments if you guys have any questions.
Yeah.
Awesome, Ryan. Glad to hear Kennedy's doing well. Any questions for Javi about anything? Could be about maybe something at La Masia, something about college, growing up in Spain. Anybody have any comments, questions, or any questions? We got like maybe 5 minutes left, so if you have something, throw it out there. I'm trying to think of one. So you had so recap real quick. Andreas Diaz was your coach when you were like 8, 9.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, and then Albert Puig recruited you basically to play for Barcelona. You ended up coming, but he didn't. He wasn't your coach at that time. That's when he got moved to the academy director. He was the academy director pretty much the entire time you were at La Masia, and then you came here and he was here. So it was like small world. And then
and Albert, for people that don't know, like the year after being with Force, he was the assistant coach for New York City, and now he's the head coach in a team in Japan. So he's still like working right now as a coach, because his last years he was more as academy director, developing like different teams, and now he's like
coaching,
which.
Got it. Did you see some of these questions? Best team?
Yeah.
Best team you played against? Or did you see that first one?
Yeah. Did you play with any international players when you were at
Barcelona? You just listed some of them, but
Sam Willie, he was in my team. Yeah, he was in my team. He got there. I remember when I was 16, him and another guy, two guys from Korea, and yeah, he came. That kid, when he came, it was crazy good.
How old was he?
He was 16 when he got with me in my team. And that kid, like, everyone talked about him. He was like the new Messi. Like, literally, he played like him. I never had like a really close connection with him, like, personally. But that kid, when he got the ball, like, he was so good. He was really good. And it was so unfortunate that if you guys know all like the story of Barca, like my last year or so, that was probably like 6 years ago, got banned by FIFA because of the signing of players like him, and he was not able to play for Barca during 3 years. So he was only training, and that killed his career. Right now he's playing for Verona in Italy, if I'm not wrong. And honestly, I haven't really heard about him, but yeah, somehow he was
legit.
Was crazy good. I don't know how he's doing right now.
Let's take one more question, either of the two.
Okay. I mean, I can't do both because one of them is super quick. So
you got 30 seconds, so make it quick.
So have you played with Ansu Fati? I have not, but I played with his brother. And the comment just went away.
I know. It was the other one's best team you played against in Spain.
I played against so many good teams.
There wasn't like one team stood out?
I would say Madrid, probably.
Madrid. Anybody specific you remember playing against that was legit? That was just like, oh my gosh, this guy's like next level.
Oscar Rodriguez, he's playing now in first division with Leganés. Hakimi, the guy that I told you, he's played for Inter. The goalkeeper was Lucas Zidane.
All right, Javi, thanks, bud. It's going to close out. Thank you.